Right, I think I'm live on here. Do boo do boo boo. Well, hello. Well, hello. It's 9:22 a.m. It officially starts at 9:30 a.m., but I am here testing things out technically and whatnot. I am not a councillor, and I never ever will be. But that's okay. That's fine. That's lovely. I don't want to be. I'm much happier being a person. Not that councillors aren't people too, but I'll stop talking. Anyway, welcome. I'm sure the councillors will be here at 9:30 on the dot, but until then, you've got me. I just live in Northtown, Aldershot, and my name is Hash. What's your name? Well, obviously you can't answer because this is a stream. That was a bit stupid for me to ask, but I'm here and you can join us. You can click on the link which is on the Here for Northtown Facebook page. It's if you don't know what it is, it's a long Zoom link with lots of numbers, but you can get there by a shortcut by going to www.aldershotlabor, all one word, .org, www.aldershotlabor.org, and if you click on that link, it will take you to this Zoom conversation, and you can talk to me, or rather you can talk to your local Labour councillors who might have some interesting information for you, or maybe able to answer some questions and queries, all sorts of great stuff. So I would definitely phone in if I were. Well, I have, because I'm in. So there we go. Right. So local issues. Yep. We can certainly talk about lots of them. I really should have paused because that's my whole 2 minutes of material, and we've got 6 minutes to go before anyone else is going to be online. That's fantastic. I've put on the right hand side some of the information. Some of it got covered at the last meeting, but there's lots of stuff there, and I'm sure the council will go through again. Information on bins and rubbish collection, that sort of thing. And also some various support groups, information and contact details there. Well, it's all up to you to have a look at. I'm gonna play some music while we're waiting, because why not? I found some royalty-free music on that I can stream, so I'm going to play some of that. As you can see, I've been enjoying the technical challenges of getting this thing to work together. This is our 3rd week of running it, and hopefully it will be the week in which I make no technical mistakes, because there hasn't been a week like that yet. So let's see. I'll try some music here. Oh, okay, kind of dancing. That's not bad, is it? So no, I don't think so. Not Saturday morning. Let's see what else we've got. We've got something here called "Life Is Good" by Blue Fox Music. So let's try that. Oh, starting off with some drums. Well, yeah, quite like this actually. Sort of workout music. So, how have things been going in this global pandemic crisis? Good? Good. It's a bit like an interview, really, isn't it? I would fail. Yes, I would. But anyway, that was quite good. I've got my Spotify playlist, Hash's cracking tunes, but I don't think I don't know that's appropriate. Please ignore that. Sort of video game music, isn't it? Luckily, there are no other viewers apart from me, so that's all good. How long have we been in lockdown? 3 weeks, I think. 3 weeks, a little bit more than that. That was pretty good. So I'm just testing all the technical abilities we have. We're hopefully going to be joined by Councillor Keith Dibble, who's the councillor for Northtown in Aldershot, who's going to lead this and introduce all the other councillors as they come on. So it should be all right. I am heartened that I am the only one watching this live stream, so no one can see my embarrassing attempts to fill the airtime. But that's all good, because I'm only testing the equipment. And I'll probably edit all of this out, so it will seamlessly just be Keith and Gaynor and Alex and Nadia and all the other Labour councillors. Right. 1 minute to go. Exciting stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, probably everyone's in the meeting room and I haven't let them in. Ah! Okay, I'm going to start letting them in now. Good morning, all.
Good morning.
You were all in the meeting waiting room, and I forgot to let you in.
Well, Spielberg treats his stars with equal respect. That's all I'll say.
Well, that worked then. The meeting waiting room. We have
Yeah.
you, Keith. Well, I'll let you do the intros, so it's all good.
Well, who have we got?
We have
are we
yourself,
live
Keith.
now?
We have Jennifer. We are live. We have Nadia. We have Terry. We have Sean, who's not on video.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our weekly Aldershot Labour Councillors online surgery. And I'll invite my fellow councillors to introduce themselves, maybe starting with our Deputy Leader, Nadia.
Hello. I'm Nadia Martin, and I'm the councillor for Wellington Ward.
Terry?
Yeah. I'm Terry Bridgman, councillor for Aldershot Park Ward.
Alex?
Yeah, Alex Crawford, councillor for Wellington Ward, Aldershot.
Do we have Gaynor online yet?
No, not yet.
No, she was in the waiting room. Yeah,
she was in the waiting room. Oh, bless her.
Yeah, she sent me a message.
Yeah, and I'm Keith Dibble, leader of the Labour group of councillors and councillor for North Town in Aldershot. And other colleagues hopefully will be joining us during the course of the next hour. One of our team, Aldershot Park councillor Sophie Porter, won't be joining us today because she has a mild dose of the coronavirus, but she's just about doing as she's told and resting at home. So we'd like to run through some local topics that we've had queries from during the course of the week. So, Nadia, as someone married to a serving military soldier, how has the corona crisis affected military family life, and are there any support mechanisms in place?
Yes, so everyone seems to be coping quite well. There's a few people that do need help, and I've posted the ARC leaflet online for everyone if they need help, but they can also call the council on 0370 4000. That's if they're extremely vulnerable and have no one to help. Hello. But that's very online.
Good morning, Gaynor. Good morning, Councillor Austin. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh, I'm Gaynor Austin, councillor for North Town.
Okay, welcome, Gaynor. So, the military personnel at the moment, Nadia, are they supporting the voluntary services, and are they getting involved in distribution of certain products and helping the NHS and such things?
That is as far as I know, it's no one in Aldershot is.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So,
Can I just add to that? The actual headquarters for coordinating the Army's effort is in the Aldershot Garrison, but it's just a team coordinating the whole of the Army's national effort.
Okay. So, yeah, understood. Alex, an update really on the Vine and Citizens Advice Bureau, how they're supporting the community at the moment, and how if people need help, they should be contacting those different organisations.
Yeah, sure. The whole thing is actually part of an umbrella which is being coordinated through Rushmore, through the Rushmore Resilience Forum. And so everything sort of is coordinated through that. And that comes down, as Nadia has just mentioned, through from Hampshire, where the primary helpline is, as Nadia said, 0333 370 4000. And people can contact that. Locally, it feeds down to different groups in Aldershot and Farnborough, and I think someone else can perhaps speak about the Aldershot response to coronavirus. But I've done a leaflet which I put online each week at the beginning of the week, which is called Supporting Our Communities, and it gives all the details of all these contact numbers. I've supplied that to our producer, and hopefully he'll be able to attach it to the report going out at the end of this meeting. With respect to the organisations I'm involved with, I can say that the Vine Centre had another great week last week, and I've again supplied that information to our producer. In total, since in the past 3 weeks, they've supported something like 1,600 people out in the community with different services. So, for example, nearly 400 calls just offering support on whatever their issues are. 46 of those calls were intense support, which each of these people needed at least half an hour on the phone to talk them through all their issues. They've supplied 809 home-cooked meals, which have been delivered to individuals. They've also supplied 66 family food parcels delivered to families to keep that family going for a whole week. They've supplied over 400 care packages. That's, again, for families to help them through the week. And believe it or not, 12 pet packages. People need to get access to pet food, but believe it or not. On the citizens' advice side of things, they've put out a very nice newsletter, the first one of which went out this week. And again, they've noticed a huge upsurge in their activity, a 30% increase in universal credit help, a 24% increase in employment issues. That's questions about people, should they be furloughed, should they be getting support from their companies and that kind of thing. And believe it or not, a 72% increase in health-related issues that the Citizens Advice Bureau has been asked about. They also run a Nepali helpline for our 1 in 10 of the local community is Nepali. And again, I've supplied that leaflet to Hash, and hopefully he'll be able to attach it to this report. That's a quick run through of all the things I'm involved with. And Rushmore Borough Council has also put out a very nice report this week on their resilience forum and all the calls they've dealt with. Okay, that's probably enough for me.
Thank you, Councillor Crawford. Councillor Austin, Gaynor, you're very much part of the ARC team in Aldershot. Perhaps you can tell us, one, how people can contact that, and secondly, the activities you've been up to, or the group have been up to in the last week. And hopefully some of your drivers are smarter than others and read the messages they're given. But so Gaynor, can you give us an update on that?
Yes, so ARC is a community group set up in Aldershot. So it's Aldershot Response to Coronavirus. Set up in the early days of this, when there was nothing coming really from before the government and local councils could get organised at all, and people were in need. We've had an amazing number of people volunteer, and thanks to all of those, we also have been working from donations, and we've had a lot of donations through the Facebook page, and that has enabled us to help people in desperate need. Quite often the elderly who are stuck indoors without people to support them. Maybe if they've got family who are self-isolating themselves for various reasons, or they don't have any family locally. In the past week, roundabout, we have had 149 requests for help. Probably more than that. I think that's just the ones that are actually recorded. Sometimes they just want to know that we're there, and it makes people feel a bit more secure knowing that there are people there to call on if they need them. 25 of those are requests for help with shopping or getting their prescriptions filled and delivered, and we've been able to help with those. We cook the company that provide ready meals have very kindly donated ready meals. At the moment, we've had 35 that have been distributed to those in need. And everything is, we've had some very interesting requests for help that we've had to fulfill. So and it's great because people in the community are getting to know others in the community, and there's been a real good spirit of people wanting to help and support each other. So you can get in contact with us. We have the Facebook page, obviously, if you're on Facebook, which is a.r.c, if you have a look for that. Also, our telephone number, which is 01252 214 022. That's 01252 02. Sorry, I'll say that again. 01252 214 022. And that phone line is manned between 10 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. But outside of those hours, if you leave a message, it automatically generates an email which comes through to us as well. So, yeah, really enjoying. I think it's been a privilege, actually, I was thinking yesterday, to be able to support the community with this and actually, get involved in people's everyday lives.
No, as someone who's done some very minor support role, just picking up prescription, delivering them, you're just amazed at how grateful people are, and that's you and I think it's as many volunteers as possible, really. But no, I think it's doing a great job supporting our vulnerable people. Are there any other organisations? The food bank, how? If people require food banks, how is that operating at the moment? It's something that I don't have a lot of knowledge. Councillor Crawford.
Yeah, sure. The normal principle of a food bank is that if someone needs food because they're short of money, they can be referred to a food bank through an agency. This could be through Citizens Advice Bureau, through their GP, or through an organisation such as the Vine Centre. And so that system still operates. The food bank in Aldershot is actually based now at Princess Hall. It had previously been based at the church in Victoria Road, but since the coronavirus pandemic, it's been switched to Princess Hall. And they're fulfilling that function. Now, what strikes me is would need to be set up, I think, is for, if Gaynor perhaps wants to look into that, for Aldershot response to coronavirus ARC, if they could have that arrangement also with the food bank to be able to refer people who can go to Princess Hall can go there to get pick up their parcel. Obviously, for people who can't go, there needs to be an arrangement with the Princess Hall for someone from ARC to deliver the food package. The other thing is that apart from that arrangement for individuals, organisations that have a need for a lot of food, like the Vine Centre, they can make particular arrangements with the food bank to have bulk deliveries so that they can prepare their meals to go out. And again, if that's something that ARC could undertake, they could contact David Phillips at the Princess Hall to set something like that. That's as much as I know about it, but obviously I'm sort of dealing with it through the Vine Centre and what they tell me.
So if someone, sorry, can I just ask a question? So if someone has no money, they have no food, do they still have to be referred to a food bank via an agency? Someone just can't turn up and say, I have nothing.
No, I can tell you about that. The food bank are using their existing referral system. Okay. So the agencies that Councillor Crawford was talking about can do referrals. They are still sticking to those, and usually a limit of the 3 referrals within 6 months, I think it is. We have been referring people to the food bank, so we do have a couple of coordinators, I think, who are able to refer, and we've done it that way. Most of our cases are often people who can afford to pay and want to pay, but are actually often for health reasons or age reasons or both, have to be isolated, and so they need support with that. But we are referring to the food bank. So there's lots of, because of the pandemic as it is, I think there are lots of groups which don't fall into the usual bank.
Okay. Any questions from the? Oh, Alex, did you want to come in again, or?
No, I was just waving to Halle, who's joined the meeting. So.
Okay. So we've got a few members of the public online. Any questions from any of those? Maybe introduce yourself. Mr. Day, I see. Mrs. Sherwood, I see. Halle, I see. Any questions? And anyone else who's online?
I saw you put something in the group about the brown bin recycling. Have you heard any more of that?
Well, I can update on that. I had a meeting on Tuesday evening as Leave the Opposition. I am invited to join a weekly call with the Rushmore Cabinet members, running through, you get updates on their different services. Now, someone mentioned pet food earlier on, a shortage of, was it Alex?
Yes.
Yep.
That must be the case, because my dog here is trying to eat my toast. So I have to move it across there. So there we are. Yeah. And 2 things came up. One was three things. One was the by and large the success of the now fortnightly collection, which there've been very few issues. The majority of issues have come from where you have communal bins in blocks of flats, which are still being collected on a weekly basis. The green bin, which should be food waste and general waste. People seem to be comfortable with that. Now, there is a question about if people put additional bags out, does that get collected? And I don't know if anyone's had any experience of that. It certainly works with the blue bin if you use additional recycling sacks, but I'm not sure about household waste. And then the following week, as I say, it's the recycling. But there has been the garden waste, i.e. the brown bin, which is a subscription service which has been withdrawn. There has been a request by a number of elected members, including everyone on this call, that recommences. So there are discussions taking place with Serco, the provider, to see if that can commence on a fortnightly basis. Rushmore did a check last week with the Local Government Association, which is the body of all local authorities in the UK, and the vast majority, well, no, not the vast majority, but the majority have continued their garden waste service. So we're very optimistic that will be reintroduced. Now, the reason it was withdrawn was because at one stage, Serco had 20% of their staff off, either in self-isolation or with the virus. The view is that more people now are returning to work, so their absenteeism is much less than that. So we're hopeful that next week a decision or agreement can be reached to recommence that service. And I know that people will be very, very pleased if that does happen. And the third point is a request that I made last week, but the leader of the council, Councillor Clifford, was also was speaking to the cabinet member at Hampshire County Council with responsibility for the Hampshire household waste recycling centres, i.e. Ivy Road, or commonly known as the council tip or council dump, to see if they'll reopen. There is a view that they were closed at haste. And I think, as Councillor Crawford said at our meeting last week, that the process in place at Ivy Road, for example, was very thorough, that you could use the recycling centre without actually breaking the social distancing rules. So again, we're optimistic that may well in the next 2 or 3 weeks, reopen. Now, that may be on a limited period and it may only be certain items, but we're hopeful that both the garden waste, the brown bin scheme, and I think really optimistic that will recommence, and hopeful that the council dumps, the tips, the recycling centres will also reopen. Does that help, Vic?
That does, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from our audience? Okay. Councillor Bridgman, you're someone that's on advised to stay at home, told to stay at home. So how are you? I mean, as a very active, able person, how are you finding this house arrest, so to speak? How are you occupying yourself? You seem to be doing lots of quizzes. How are you? You're finding lots of things to do to occupy a very busy mind. Is that right? Perhaps you can talk us through that.
Well, it is frustrating to a certain extent. I can't go out and go shopping, of course. That's one thing I do miss. But of course, the rest of it, I'm fairly used to anyway. So I had a head start on the rest of you in that respect. And it is a bit strange having meetings with people online. I do the same with my Rotary club, of course. But yeah, we just got to grin and bear it. And one of the things I pass my time with doing is watching what's going on in America and some of the horror stories that are going on over there. We in Rushmore, I think, are rather fortunate in that it is an all-party consensus as to what we do. Is that toast you eating there, Keith?
It is toast, lovely bit of toast, but it has to be up high because the dog was attacking.
Yes, I know, I saw the dog attacking it. Yeah, I just had toast with peanut butter. 3 years past its sell-by date. I think we'll all be doing that eventually, raiding the cupboards to see.
If she comes again, she's looking for the toast. I'm going to have to move it again. Sorry, carry on, Terry. Carry on.
But yeah, I mean, I manage it okay. Obviously, a lot of people are. We've already mentioned North Lane Lodge, of course, which is one of the local organisations which my Rotary Club have been involved in to a certain extent. And I think the Rotary clubs themselves are finding lots of calls on their time. Although the one problem I think we've got is not duplicating efforts. We need to coordinate and keep in touch and let each other know what's going on. But I'm finding more and more local organisations which are struggling and will probably not recover from this coronavirus outbreak. And I know even bigger organisations are suffering. Village Tuckwell, for instance, it's just driven a coated horse into their finances. What they're going to be like when it's all over, I don't know. It is worrying, but well, the best we can do is to just keep on doing what we're doing, I think.
Thanks. Okay. A question about the Rotary, Terry. How does that operate?
Sorry?
How do people contact the Rotary if they need support, or what's the process for that? It's a word we all know.
Yeah, good question. I think at the moment, I think it's really a question of just knowing somebody who's a member.
Yeah.
There are. I mean, we do have a website with a certain amount of public access to it, and certainly the council and the RVS should know who the local contacts are, or Rotary and Lions and organisations like that are. And the Masons, of course. I haven't heard what they're up to, but I'm sure they must be doing quite a bit. But yeah, it's a question of as ever, really, of knowing where to go to get the information.
Yeah. So what's the best thing, again, would you say? Just a local thing, just to call the ARC number, and if you can't deal with it, do you refer on, or how does that operate?
Yes, we have been working very closely with RVS and the the Resilience Forum operation, things that are going on at Prince's Hall. So we will always refer on to the appropriate organisation that can help if we can't help, or we may, because a lot of those others will take time to get people into.
Not the bottom half, no.
We will often refer them on, but then provide for the immediate urgent need.
Yeah, good. The Councillor Crawford.
Yeah, sure. I just wanted to come in about the issue of mental health, because this has increasingly been a problem. It was identified in the Citizens Advice Bureau report. They've seen an upsurge in mental health inquiries. The Centre has the people there who are specialists in, if you like, counselling about mental health, and so they're providing that backup, and that's where some of the detailed long phone calls are to help people with their mental health issues. The other point is that each day the Vine Centre puts out a mental health tip, which is, for example, the first one was to spend a little time engaging in mindfulness. Another one is to make sure you get out and have a walk to get your exercise. All these sort of tips to make sure that people just don't stick at home and are alone and so on. So, but there can be issues about if there are mental health issues, then there is help available through Citizens Advice, through the Vine Centre and so on. So we should encourage people to make these contacts and not to remain isolated and suffering in that kind of way.
That's good to know. I mean, how do people... She's gone somewhere else now to find her breakfast, if you hear the barking. So, I mean, people, last weekend it was glorious weather, and there were a few incidents on social media of groups of people in Manor Park and municipal gardens. How did everyone find that as they went on their daily walk? I mean, Alex, you do a walk to the allotments. Are the secret groups of allotment holders having meetings in secret up there, are they, or are they all behaving themselves?
No, I mean, typically an allotment, you're working on your own allotment, so you're just isolated in that way. And what I have noticed, though, we've walked through brick fields, and one occasion last weekend we did see people just hanging out there. Yesterday I went for a walk through round Manor Park, and again there were small groups just sort of lying there chatting and that kind of thing. It's not really appropriate. You don't, as an individual, you don't feel, well, they're not doing the right thing, but it's not up to us to report to them, to the police.
It is.
Yeah, but I mean, you'd be forever on the phone to people, and this is the problem: is that
yes,
all we can do is exert the community pressure to get the message out that people should have to stay at home, or if they're out on exercise, it has to be exercise. We can't be acting as community policemen.
Any other feedback on that? Because it's, to some people, it's a very, very serious matter. And I've had lots of lots of messages on social media from people saying they're a group here, a group there, or such and such. And there is quite an easy reporting line on Hampshire Police where you just put in what the incident was. But has anyone else... there's been a fest in this room where a dog has just jumped up and taken 2 slices of toast. So
I can think of one former Labour, former Conservative mayor who would be in his element at the moment, going around reporting people.
Yeah.
But yeah, Alex is right. I mean, it's not our job to go around doing that. If we see excessive cases, then certainly. But we can't be the village policeman as well.
No. And I think the danger is you end up being verbally abused, as I
Exactly.
found
Yes.
the other week. So it's but I think that for some, out of nowhere, our police seem to have found a local beat team, and I'd never criticise them individuals because they all work incredibly hard, but they seem to have a few more resources at the moment, and it is good to see them visiting the parks and play areas and sort of ball courts, and I've seen them. I think we could also have seen a greater police presence over the last month, which I think is reassuring for lots of people. But you do get one or two people online that don't have a good word to say for the police, and we all know why. There are lack of numbers, and we could spend a good 2 hours debating that and pointing the finger of blame. But actually, it's very harsh to attack the individuals that the PCSOs that to me seem to do way and above their normal role. So I think they do a great job, but they are certainly seen out and about more, which is very good.
They are, and I think the police have confirmed to me that if you do see any of this going on, do report it on 101.
Yeah.
Whether that be on by the telephone or online, because it is taken notice of. Obviously, with very overstretched resources, they can't be everywhere at the same time. But a number of people, as you say, Keith, have reported to us about house parties, parties in people's gardens where people are mixing from various houses, and we have reported that through to the police, so they are aware. There are very specific difficulties for them in those situations, but if they are notified of these, they will try their best to get out and talk to the people involved and actually check the situation out. But it does need to be reported via 101.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and I think the response we get from, if you contact, for example, PC Karen East or PSOs of Catherine or Dominic, you get a response during the course of their shift, which is very good. There was two incidents last Saturday at the same time in North Lane, where there was one individual, probably in his mid-30s, who was slumped across the steps at the entrance to YBC Cleaning Facilities Company, and at the same time a chap on the wall outside Nicola Court, who, would be fair to say, you'd thought he was on a boat, a cruiser in the ocean with the waves. He couldn't sit still. He was swaying, and the people in social distancing were trying to be helpful. They'd called 101, and there was no. They just said they couldn't send anyone out, and they advised them to call 999. So they called. Two people called 999, and the ambulances came, and you could see that the paramedics were frustrated that they were having to deal with abuse either by drug or by alcohol when they were very busy with other things. I called our local PCSO on our private line, and she said she couldn't come out but take a photograph. So I stood there taking a photograph, and the chap came up to me and said I was an absolute disgrace. I should respect someone's privacy and, should mind my own business. And before I could tell him that I was doing it at the police request, he actually departed. So, you sometimes
actually, I have to say, well done to that local resident, because the amount of people who do take photos of
I took it in the right spirit, Kane. I took it in the right spirit, but I wish you'd just stayed long enough to get my answer. But
I know
anyway.
You're not doing very well at the moment, are you, for people abusing you in public, unfortunately, when you're doing your best?
I'm old enough and thick-skinned, just about, yeah. So that's 2 down. So I wonder what the third one will be. But I think the police are doing, at very beat level, a really an okay job. But I think if you report if your neighbours are having a barbecue and they've got family there, if someone reports it and the police turn up, it's not going to be too difficult to work out who might have reported it, is it? And I think that's a challenge for people as well, and that's why they tend to come to local councillors. And Neighbourhood Watch is, I noticed they've been advertising this week for more people to join up, and I think this is probably a very good time when something like Neighbourhood Watch could thrive, isn't it? With a very thin line between snoopers and, as some people see it. But I think at the moment, all the agencies, whether it be the police or other, just need that voluntary community support. Any other questions from anyone, or any other points anyone would like to make?
Question.
I can hear the meeting, but I've been flipped off. I can't see anything.
Oh, we can see you. We can see you, Mrs. Sherwood.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I don't know what's happened then.
Perhaps you need to click the video camera. I don't know.
No, we can.
We can see Ross.
We'll go to our producer.
Ross, it's not a pretty sight.
Got it. Thank you, Alex.
Okay. Halle, did you put your hand up?
Yes. I've got a question regarding the social distancing and people getting together or seeing their families.
Thank you.
If they keep their social distance when they are sort of together, do you think that would be a problem? Not that I've got it, but I know people invite, for example, their mom comes over, or they go and see their mom, or their family comes over, very close family. Do you maybe you can explain why there is a problem with that as well, because that's quite happening more and more as we are going into this isolation longer. More of it is happening.
Anyone got a view on that? I've got a view, but I'll come in later. Anyone else?
I've got a view. As it happens, we live round the corner from three of our offspring, and on a walk, we can walk past their house, and we can keep our social distance and have a chat on our walk. But that's about it. We still strictly keep to social distancing, and it's more from their point of view. They don't want to be, in a sense, feeling that they're a possible source of any infection getting to us, because we're in the vulnerable older group. And I think that's what younger members of families perhaps feel, that they don't want to be the ones that put their parents or their grandparents at risk. So,
as long as they are not in the house, they can sort of keep their distance. They can walk to the park or something like that,
You shouldn't really.
You shouldn't.
They say not, and we wouldn't do that. We quite often we would have gone for a family walk. We don't do that now.
So that's quite clear.
Yeah, I think so.
The advice is only two people from the same household, or people from the same household going for a walk together, and social distancing from everybody else, but not people, not even family from different households.
No.
And they really shouldn't be coming over and sort of spending the afternoon in the garden together, even if they're keeping a certain amount of distance.
Okay, that's quite clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I on Thursday or yesterday, I went around. In Northtown, we've got 4 excellent stores that are supporting, the community, the co-op, One Stop, Star Off license. And I went into the post office and I spoke to all the staff there, social distancing, and they were saying that over the last couple of days, they felt there'd been more of an edge to their customers. There'd been less. I say that the spirit, and it
tolerance
was
and understanding.
Tolerance, yes, and grumbling a bit more. And I wonder if this further 3 weeks has psychologically sort of impacted a lot of people.
I gotta tell you.
Yeah, so often you would say that some people are grumpy all the time, but I wouldn't.
I gotta tell you, the supermarkets
all the time.
now, you're like, whoa! There's like most people obeying social distancing. There's some people that are just like, come on, it's like dodgems in the supermarkets.
Yeah.
You just got to be careful.
And you'll get looked at like you're at. Sometimes it's someone comes towards you wearing a mask, which is great, but their eyes tend to look at you as if you're like a mass murderer, and or something like that. And I say good morning or good afternoon to everyone I see now, and I'd say the response is about 50%.
That's just you, Keith. They don't react like that to the rest of us.
Just become your views on that.
It's hard because you've got one message on one side, which is keep your distance, and another message which is your normal civil politeness.
Yeah.
And it is a conflicting thing, because you can say good morning to someone, you can smile, but at the same time in your head you're saying stay away. And that tends to promote behaviours like, I'm not going to look at you, I'm not going to acknowledge you, I'm not going to smile. And we've got to try and balance those two ideas in our heads, because you can smile, you can say good morning, you just don't come up close to do it. That's all.
That's right. A good Hash. I'm going to try and see you today because you'll respond. That will cheer me up.
Don't get too close, though.
No, I won't.
Yeah, but I
Alex.
think what I think is it was okay for 2 weeks. People could summon up the energy, the will to respect social distancing, and now they realise they've got to do it, and it feels like more like an imposition. And I think that's creating, these some of the mental issues that people are feeling increasingly pressed down and depressed. And I think that, I think that has to be recognised going forward. The longer it goes on, the more people are going to, in one way or another, react again and feel depressed. I think. So.
Can I say something on that?
Yeah.
Holly and I, when we were delivering the ARC leaflet in the centre about domestic abuse, and the rules have changed now, that if you're in a household and you really need to get out because of domestic abuse, you can actually stay with a friend or a family member for a few days, but that would have to be consensus on both sides. So you can't just turn up.
And I think, and he said that actually it has to be, your stay has to be in days rather than hours. So you can't say, I'm having an argument, I'm going there for 2 hours to my friend and come back. So that's not, I think, yes.
Can I draw attention to a particular problem which I've become aware of, which is that the companies you can order like white goods online from are increasingly refusing to deliver. So you might feel that you need a new washing machine, a new tumble dryer, or a new cooker, but you can't actually get it because the delivery staff are refusing to go into people's houses. This can be a problem, but I don't know what we can do about that to address that. If someone has a need, everyone needs a cooker to cook food or that kind of thing. What can be done about it?
I think, Alex, you'll find that anybody delivering anything, not just big white goods, will not come into your house, will not open, will leave it on the doorstep. My oxygen bottles, for instance, the oxygen man used to come in, take it out of my bedroom and replace them. Now he leaves them on the front door, by the front door, and I have to put mine by the front door. And as for deliveries, well, it really depends on what you're getting and who you're getting it from. I know that some companies, particularly if you're ordering stuff from abroad, it's just held up in delivery centres. It's not necessarily the delivery staff themselves. Sometimes it's the companies.
Yeah, company policy. That's right. And I think that this is an issue that perhaps the local community groups and so on need perhaps to be saying to people that if you can get a delivery to the doorstep, I don't know whether they can. Can we, for example, volunteers from ARC, can they actually arrange to go into people's houses to fix in washing machines or cookers, that kind of thing? I don't know.
We have had some, those people are allowed to be working at the moment, and so we have a few contacts who are able to go in under social distancing circumstances and fix essential electrical goods and so on. I think we had one inquiry about fixing a heater for a hot tub, which not really essential.
Again, I don't think the problem is getting people to actually do the fixing and the wiring or whatever. It's that the delivery, as Alex said, the delivery companies won't deliver the stuff in the first place.
Oh, the white goods.
That's the problem. Yeah,
yeah,
that's the problem.
Maybe you should do a test and say you've got a washing machine or a freezer that's got to go up 12 flights of stairs in Alexandra House and see how many volunteers you get.
Yeah. We actually thought we needed a new washing machine this week because we had an electrical fault which seemed to be from the washing machine. Anyway, we eventually carried out all sorts of tests around the electrical circuitry, and it turns out it was actually the master circuit board that was the problem. So when the washing machine turned up from Argos, we had to send them away again and say we don't actually need a new washing machine. But they wouldn't have, they weren't in a position that they were going to be plumbing it in or anything.
No, I think there are some really good companies out there. We know of one that typical type in Northtown actually that does a lot of good stuff, and I think that we would be able to find people who can take it in and plumb it in. Hash?
Oh no, I was just using my body language to express agreement with your sentiment.
No, that's really good. No,
businesses are the best.
Well, of course they are. Of course they are. Councillor Martin.
Yeah. So we have still have discussions going on. And if we have urgent repairs that need fixing, then we can call Amy out, and they will come out if no one in your house is isolating. So, but I don't understand with the white goods. Does that mean you can buy them online, and after you've paid the delivery, they take the money? And is that what's happening?
That's right. They say you can purchase it, but we won't deliver it until after the COVID-19 distancing has stopped.
That's terrible. So people are out of pocket.
Yeah, and I mean it even includes people like British Gas. If you have a British Gas contract which requires them to do maintenance, they won't fulfil it.
Wow. So I got an email because I have a home care contract, and they sent me an email saying that they still will be doing those essential services, but you're saying in practice that is not happening.
Yeah, that's right. In one case that I heard of, that was what happened. They said, oh, well, we could come and do a repair, but it would be easier if you ordered a new bit of new washing machine, let's say.
Right.
But then they say, we can't deliver a washing machine until after the COVID-19 distancing arrangements have stopped. So I think they're just pulling in their horns as much as they can, really.
So they've got a coronavirus FAQ, and they said that that for now they are only helping with prepay meter issues or emergencies, i.e. no heating or hot water. So they're the only things that they're helping with.
That's it.
I mean, now, so if you're something like Home Serve, and we've got many of us have got contracts, insurances, and such things. You can always claim for money back, couldn't you? I know now's not the time, but I guess they say, what's the term, force majeure or something, isn't it? That would allow. So, Nadia, can you just confirm that Amy is the company that service military housing and not a nice friendly lady that will come and install our washing machines? Is that right?
Right, sorry.
Or you were on mute. Could you repeat that? Sorry. You were on mute then. We couldn't hear you.
Yes. So Amy is the contractor that fixes.
Okay. Yeah. Just speak briefly on the council and people, local businesses or small businesses or individuals who are small business first. I was told yesterday that every application for the small business grant has been paid to everyone who has completed the documentation correctly. There were a small number out of about 500, maybe 20 or 30, that hadn't put the correct bank account which the money would be paid into. But of the 500 claims they've had, I think something like 480 have been paid, and it comes to something like about £10 million. And I know that some local, certainly in Northtown, one or two local traders who are closed found that obviously incredibly helpful. And I'm told that the local tax office, i.e. Rushmore, dealing with household council tax, haven't declined any payment plans, but they have genuine payment plans, but they have declined people who are still in work, who just wanted a 2-month holiday on their council tax. So you do have to prove that there is an element of need, and I think once that's identified, there's no further inquiries. But so I think that seems to be working. I think the lessons to be learned, if we ever had to go through this again, that their communications could be vastly improved. Alex?
Yeah, sure. I just wanted to add to that because being very interested in consumer issues, I watched the Martin Lewis Money Show on Thursday, where he went over what people could do to make sure that they got the support they needed. And the one issue that he identified was that for people who became self-employed after April 2019, there was no support from the government. However, he said he was lobbying hard on behalf of people like that and hoped for a change in the future. But in the meantime, some local authorities were helping people like that. So I've put in the question to Ian Harrison at Rushmore Borough Council. Is this something that Rushmore Borough Council would consider doing, given how well they've served the firms that you've just mentioned, Keith?
That's a good point. Good point. Any other points or questions, anyone? No?
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Day.
Last week I came up with a suggestion for the carers iceberg. I've been very busy during the week, wearing myself out, so by the time it gets to evening I've been falling asleep, so I've got no further forward with it. You did mention 2 people I should get in touch with, and about 2 minutes afterwards I've totally forgotten who they were.
Yeah, who were they? We remember.
Can I just say about carers, that this is an issue I've taken up this week with Karen Edwards at Rushmore Borough Council, because of all the concern that there's been. And she says that the council, through the Hampshire thing, have a store of equipment and so on for people in care homes that they can draw down. So, and she'll be contacting all the care homes next week to make sure they know about this.
Okay, that's really good, Alex. So, Vic, Gainer's bake-off must be coming to a conclusion soon, and then we'll sweep into the iceberg drawing competition.
Okay.
So how's that going, Gainer?
Yeah, I think we missed the peak of cake baking when we put it off. So yeah, we really need more cakes being baked. I think there's a bit of a shortage of flour, so I'm hearing.
There is.
Absolutely. Jennifer's a keen baker, and she's been missing flour until yesterday, where we did a forage into Waitrose and Farnham, and enough flour to bake some cakes. But we're disqualified because although we had an excellent Simnel cake at Easter, I failed to take Jennifer's photo actually baking the cake.
Or a photo of the process, so I think we should extend it for a week.
Yeah, I think another week. Now, yesterday an elderly relative who lives in Aldershot said, could I get some flour? So I went round all the Northtown places, and all I had was all they had was raisin flour. So I sent the person a text, and I got told it was pies, not cakes. They wanted plain flour.
Yeah.
So I sent a local off license who have a good supply of stock of different things. Have they got any flour, plain flour? And they text me back to say yes, they had. So after I did the prescriptions runs last night, Gaynor, I popped into the Star off license, and it felt a bit like the black market, because they came and said, "Oh, Keith, here it is." They went under the counter and produced this bag of flour.
Ah.
And the other customers in the shop looked at me a little bit suspiciously, who probably couldn't understand why I was buying flour in an off license anyway. But I'm afraid I think I got special treatment there. But the good news is that flour wasn't for this household; it was for someone in their 80s. But I was slightly embarrassed when they went under the counter to provide this bag of flour.
I'd just like to say, I think that the Star is absolutely brilliant. That window display is fantastic.
The Star is a star. The Star is a star, and I think that's what we say. Any other points, anyone? So that's it. So we extend that for a week, Gaynor, and you can be the judge.
Okay, can I just say I've missed our little visit from California this week. And while you lot have been busy talking, and I've been multitasking, because you may not have noticed that I'm wearing a completely different set of clothes while we've been going on.
Well, we did see Terry, and we thought it was our man from. When you got changed, we thought it was our man from California, but
yeah. Okay. There we go. But yes, no, a useful session again, I think.
Okay, is that it, Mr. Director? Are we nearly there? What's the
We
time?
are nearly there. I was just going to say on flour, I've got a couple of tips. Obviously, don't have your dodgy connections, Keith. But what I was going to say is Squire's Kitchen do sell the big bags of flour in Farnham. So if you can order there, you can get like a 16 kilogram bag, which is a lot.
Yeah, that's good to know. It's good to know. I think where social media has been brilliant in the last month is that, you know, if people say, where can I get such and such, usually there is a sensible response. But I mean, all the supermarkets seem to be pretty well stocked. The Co-op and One Stop and the Star in Northtown have amazing, you do ask and they'll go and find. I mean, some of us are lucky that we know a local resident, Gaynor, who has chickens, so we can usually get eggs. So I think by and large, you're seeing the very best of community, genuinely.
Do you know there's
but also,
no
of course,
shortage of flour?
You can get it in Aldi.
Bags of flour for 1 kilogram and 1.5 and 2.
Yeah,
which I find fascinating. It's just.
But on
the bags.
Thursday,
you can't make enough.
On Friday morning, there was very little. There was a run on flour, if there could be such a thing.
It's the bags. We can't make enough bags. The mills can produce the flour. We can't make enough bags.
Yeah. It's all Gaynor's fault. Starting his face off.
Yeah.
Well, that's no comment there. No comment.
We need cake to cheer us up in these times.
We do.
Yeah, I'm having to buy it from the supermarket. Can somebody bring one around my house?
Mm-hmm.
What, a cake?
Yeah.
I'll bring you a cake.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But don't make those. Don't do that. I hope that Alec, that Jennifer's hot cross buns were not designed in a similar way to the councillor in Portsmouth, who's been suspended with the patterns on his hot cross buns.
Like in Nazi.
There was a swastika on there and other rude things.
No.
Oh my
God. I will send the link. I will share the link on our message.
Yeah, do that, please.
He's now been suspended from the Conservative group. Yeah.
It's really funny.
Yeah. Okay. Any further questions, anyone? again, thank all my colleagues for their joining the call, the members of the public that have come in, those that have asked questions. Hope everyone's found it useful. And of course, to our Oscar-nominated producer, Hash, thank you very much indeed.
That's no problem.
And I must say, your production of the key worker or support worker video last week was the high point of many of our weeks.
Oh, well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye-bye,
everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Right. End stream. Bye-bye.